You know those people who seem to handle life with ease, who don't get rattled by setbacks and somehow always seem to grow through every challenge? That's not luck, that's mindset. It starts with how you see yourself and your potential. If you think small, you stay small. If you see yourself capable of growth, every challenge becomes a step forward. Text someone who constantly complains about others but never looks inwards. They struggle to keep meaningful relationships because every disagreement becomes a battle. Every difference becomes a threat. Contrast that with someone who notices their own patterns, who can say, I see how I reacted and I can do better next time. That self-awareness is powerful. It's the difference between repeated frustration and steady progress. Self-love isn't about indulgence or ego. It's about respect for yourself, boundaries, and understanding what you need to thrive. Imagine a person who constantly sacrifices their own needs to please others. They end up exhausted, resentful, and frustrated. Now imagine someone who invests in themselves, reading, reflecting, setting clear boundaries, taking care of their body and mind. That investment shows up in everything, in how they communicate, in how they handle conflicts, in how they build trust with others. Growth isn't glamorous, it's uncomfortable. It's admitting mistakes, seeking feedback, and adjusting behaviors that don't serve you. Think about it. A colleague who constantly blames others for failed projects, they get stuck. Now think about a colleague who reflects after every setback, learns new skills and adapts their approach. They get stronger, more reliable, and more respected. The same principle applies to every area of life, including the way you manage your relationships. Maturity is visible in everyday choices. It's not the big gestures, it's the small ones. Staying calm when tensions rise, following through on commitments, owning your words, listening before reacting. I've seen friendships last decades simply because two people were committed to growing, learning, and understanding. Not because everything was perfect, but because they constantly handled the tough moments well. Here's the thing, your mindset, your self-respect, and your commitment to growth directly affect how you connect with others. People notice, they respond to it. When you show up as someone who takes themselves seriously, who works on themselves daily, and who can manage their emotions, your relationships aren't just smoother, they're deeper, more resilient, and built to last. It doesn't matter how much potential someone else has if you are not really willing to match it. Progress is contagious. Growth attracts growth. Maturity creates stability. And the people who stick around aren't sticking around for luck. They're sticking around because you're showing up in a way that makes them feel engaged, trusted, and respected. Ask yourself, where are you still reactive instead of reflective? Where are you still shrinking instead of expanding? Growth doesn't wait for the perfect time. Self-awareness doesn't wait for approval. Maturity doesn't wait for someone else to teach it to you. You start where you are, with what you have, and you keep building, one choice at a time, one insight at a time. That's how consistency, resilience, and meaningful connections are formed. Every step you take towards understanding yourself, managing your emotions, and building habits that serve you doesn't just improve your life, it shapes the way you relate to everyone around you. That's the power of mindset, self-respect, growth, and maturity. That's the foundation for lasting, strong, and reliable connections. Relationships that endure because they're built on stability, integrity, and consistency, not chance or convenience.